Right. Now, I'm going to go over here and see if we are broadcasting yet. Of course, there's usually some kind of delay. All right. There we are. Make sure it's muted. Now, I want to welcome everybody to the first ever Watchman. What do we call this? A community house? I think we got Hoss. It is here, in South Carolina. It's storming down there, and basically, all this first video is going to be about is how this discussion group is supposed to work. If you're cruising the internet and you see some, on YouTube or something, you see an interesting video. Let's say, for instance, it's about the Middle East or something like that. We'll pretend it is Middle East. You'd go down here and you click your share, and then let me move this down so if I can see it. And you would hit your Google button right there. Then you would get this window here to pop up. Now you wouldn't, let me get the screen right here. Come on. There we go. I think the camera, there it goes. There it goes. Okay. Little camera problems here. Turn that off. Move this down here because it's not exactly lined up. You would go down and find the Watchman group, and then you would click on Middle East. And then the video that you were watching that you found interesting on the Middle East, all you would have to do is hit share, and it would post it to that part. Now I'm going to go over to the Watchman group. And that way, when you clicked on Middle East, your post would show up. You can see John Smith, put in a post there. There's some stuff on the Middle East already in there. And if you want to find something else, like if you see a video on prophecy or you want to see videos on prophecy, click on the prophecy button. Government abuse and power. Of course, everybody loves this guy here. He pulls his gun out on somebody in their while they're standing in their driveway. That's a good cop. And that's basically how this group is supposed to work. It's not just supposed to be me running it. It's supposed to be everybody. In other words, if you see something on YouTube and it fits into a Watchman category or something that's going on in the world that's important, share it. Share it with the rest of us. I can't watch the whole YouTube all by myself all day, and that way if everybody shares things that are have to do with things that, how would you say, could happen, possibilities, post it. Share it with everybody. You can go to this group and share a link. You can share a photograph. Let me move this over. Events. I don't know what poll does. Well, I put a poll in, but links to other stuff. So if you got a link to a page about something that's happening, go ahead and link it in there. Let's see, what else does it have here? I'll probably add some other stuff here. Like, I put this in here just for the heck of it. Anybody that has a ham radio or any other type of radio, you might want to print this list out and keep it with your radio equipment. Or print a couple of lists out, keep it with all your radios. Or just laminate it and tape it to the radio. It's just a meetup frequency. There's so many frequencies. If we don't have a standard frequency, when the grid went down or something, we wouldn't know where to go to find other, I guess you'd call it, like-minded people. Meet up there and go somewhere else. And you got any ideas for this, Hoss? Or just my brainstorm a lot.
No, it looks like you've done a good job on it. I mean, we just, like you said, the biggest thing is learning how to work it. You know,
Yeah. Well, I mean,
'cause
that's what
it'll take time. You know.
you got 21 members on it. Now, if all 21 people would just remember this when they see something on YouTube and say, "Hey, I want to share that with with other people," that go ahead and share it. There's I guess discussion is kind of like a what do you call it? Everything. If it doesn't fit in any of these categories, you put it under discussion. Of course, if you go to all posts, then everything. I mean, it's just a jumble of everything. But anyway, you was talking about the debate. I've heard a lot of people hollering about Trump, and he did take that question, saying if he didn't win the nomination, he might run by himself.
Yeah, truly, if it, all in all, I think Marco Rubio done better than probably anybody.
I don't think anybody won at all, really.
No, I mean, it was the Kasich guy was talking about the gay people that he had. It was the law of the land, and that he was okay because he had went to a friend's wedding that happened to be gay. And I'm like, well, it's the law of the land to murder babies, you know? And is everybody just going to sit back and say, okay, that's fine? I think they ought to be trying to. I like Mike Huckabee's answer on that. We need to get I think it was the 5th and the 14th Amendment.
Yeah, on the babies.
Yeah, and he said, we need to protect them. They're a human being that needs to be protected. And I agree.
Yeah, you'd have to go to court in front of a judge in order to get an abortion.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't see getting an abortion just because you want an abortion, using it for birth control. If the baby is like going to really be messed up and it's only going to live a day or two after it's born, and a lot of doctors get together and say, okay, well, the baby, has this problem and this problem and this problem, not just because it's going to have Down syndrome or something like that, but really seriously medical problems that the baby is probably going to die within a day or two of being born. Then if it's, in that cases, yeah, if the moms, could die during that, process of birthing or C-section, then yeah, if they wanted to do an abortion, then
in other words, not a free for all, and
yeah.
I mean, they're like you say, and it's government funded.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think if a woman, and as bad as it is, as bad as rape is, if a woman, well, in my opinion, if a woman's raped within a few minutes, she ought to be taking the morning after pill, because by then you don't know if the sperm has entered the egg or not. And if she goes ahead and she takes the morning after pill, that will take care of it. It's not an abortion because you don't even know if the egg is even had a sperm enter it. So in that case, if a woman's raped, as soon as she can get to the hospital and as soon as they can get her, they ought to be giving her the morning after pill. That way you don't have, it's not an abortion, but to wait, 6 months or even 2 months later, and then say, okay, well, I want to go ahead and get an abortion because the rape was so traumatic that, I mean, it's not my body. It's not me that would have to go through it in the mindset. I mean, I guess it could drive somebody crazy over that because of being raped, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know in a rape case what to do. I mean, I ain't going to say yeah, she ought to get an abortion just because she was raped, you know. But then again, it's not me that's got to deal with it. It may be to the point that, that she may try to take her own life,
Yeah, but when our leaders and as a country, we're saying it's okay. When our leaders say it's okay, that brings down, if anybody believes in the Bible and prophecy, it brings down judgment on the whole nation.
Yeah. Well, some women use it as birth control. I mean, they don't buy birth control. They just, if they get pregnant, they go get an abortion.
Well, it's not just,
And,
I mean, it's a whole sexual immorality thing.
yeah.
If,
Yeah.
if
Well, and Planned Parenthood is making it easy enough for them to use it
if
as birth control.
if God liked to play baseball, this would be our third strike, because in
Yeah.
'62, the Supreme Court banned prayer in schools. In '73, they okayed abortion. And in 2015, they went ahead and ruined marriage and said,
Well, it's funny how the Supreme Court can always come down and they always try to put case law out there and put, why their decision the way they went. But the thing of it is they're not always right. They tried to do, I think, in some cases, try to follow the law, but they have been cases that even the senators and congressmen have said, look, that is not the way. The House and the Senate did not pass that the way you're ruling. We passed it to be this. And they've actually went back and had to make new laws just to counteract what the Supreme Court went around and tried to make their own law. So we need to figure out the Supreme Court thing. It's not working. It's politically charged now. I don't know how we can do it, but we need to figure out some way of putting Supreme Court justices in there a different way.
well, we're putting them in there. Okay. The whole idea of the Supreme Court was so that they would not, they wouldn't be as susceptible to the public will. In other words, they were supposed to strictly interpret the Constitution.
Yeah.
That was their job, to interpret and not to make new rules. And there's nowhere in our Constitution or in our history that ever said that marriage was anything but between a man and a woman. So I don't know where they could have came up with this. But
Well, and the same thing with abortion. They say, oh, well, it's not a baby. It's just a clump of cells. Well, if it's just a clump of cells, why are they calling in those videos? Why are they saying, yeah, this is the lungs and this is a heart and this is the kidneys? If that's not a human being, then why don't they just say, well, this is one little clump of cells and this is another clump? Why are they saying this is a heart? This is a kidney. And you see the little hand there laying there on the table.
Yeah. Well, like Huckabee said, he said, we have scientific evidence that life starts at conception now.
Yes.
Because we have as soon as the eggs separate, I mean, that has its own unique DNA. It has DNA of both parents, but it develops its own unique DNA and it becomes its own person at that point.
So I don't see how the Supreme Court can uphold, abortion when we know for a fact, and I don't know why somebody hadn't brought it back before the Supreme Court and sued and got it back. But I don't think they'll ever hear another case. I think they'll just put it on the back burner and won't hear cases that have anything to do with abortion in it. And it wouldn't be so bad if, like I say, it was for the health of the mother and the baby wasn't going to live. Um,
But this,
morning after pill as soon as it happens. And look, we have birth control pills. There's stuff that men can take. You know, I mean, there's things that we can do to stop, having babies and have to abort them. So I mean, I don't understand. I mean, and not only that, but Planned Parenthood was the lady that started it was wanting black women to have abortions because she was like I don't know, I wouldn't call her a white supremacist, but pretty much what she was. She didn't want anybody other than the whites to have babies. So I mean, if that's not racist, you would think, all these black ladies would go, hey, is that really why it was started? And if it was, then I'm not going to mess around with it. But it's free, and they get rid of a baby that they don't want, that they could put up for adoption. I mean, look, we got people going out of this country adopting babies and from other countries that we could be adopting our own kids here if the women would just go ahead and have it. I mean, I would be in favor of putting a lady, if she would have a baby, instead of getting an abortion, give her $500 or $1,000.
yeah, there's plenty of people that's willing to adopt.
Yeah, I mean, if a parent, somebody that wanted to adopt a baby, they would be willing to pay that $500 or $1,000 in a second. I mean, it wouldn't be nothing, I don't think the state should be paying that. I think that if, the adopted parents, if they look, if you go, like when my son was born, it cost $7,000. He's almost 29 years old now. It was $7,000 back, 28 years ago. He's almost 29.
What was wrong with it? Cesarean?
Yeah, I didn't have insurance, so she had to have a C-section done, and he had heart problems when he was born, so they had to do a couple of, I don't know if it was CT scans or something, but they wanted to make sure his heart was okay because his heart actually stopped beating, and that's the why they went ahead and done a C-section. But the thing of it is, that was $7,000 back then. If I can pay $7,000 back then, surely somebody could put $1,000 out now. And some of these ladies would, instead of having an abortion, would want that $1,000 and go ahead and have the baby. I mean, I don't know the true, way to get rid of, so many abortions, but that one clinic was talking about they had 200 pounds of waste at the end of the day. 200 pounds. That's 200 pounds of babies. I mean, that's just one day at that clinic. And I mean, that clinic was a huge building. And I don't know how many doctors they had in there doing abortions, but that one lady said that she could do 18 a day.
Well, if you'd have watched that video, the Isaiah judgment, he would have talked about the abortions in there.
Yeah, well, I didn't get that far.
I mean, Israel did the exact same things in the days of Isaiah, when Isaiah the prophet was there. Everything we're doing now, Israel did step by step. We're doing exactly the same thing that they did. First off, they turned away from God, and they said, "Hey, we're strong now. We're a strong, mighty nation. Nobody can mess with us." And God removes His hand of protection from them, and they get invaded, and their walls get knocked down. Well, instead of repenting, they come back and say, "Hey, the bricks have fallen, but we're gonna rebuild with hewn stone, which is quarried stone."
Mm-hmm.
They're going to build their walls stronger instead of returning to God and repenting. And then they go on and they continue to offer their babies to the idol Molech or something. And so we're doing the same thing with abortions. We're killing our children, and he just goes through it. The guy speaks it much better than I do. I mean, he tells what we did and how this country. He's a real good historian. Shows what George Washington, was in his prayer and his speech. When George Washington commemorated the nation and he became the first president, he said that if this nation ever turned away from God, that would be the end of it.
And it's happening.
It's already happened.
Yeah, I mean it's. I mean, there's still some good people out there.
Well,
there's still a lot of good people out there, but the thing of it is we're turning so fast. And Sodom and Gomorrah, when it happened, it was only one good man, even his wife and his children. So God give them, he said, if I can just find one more person. Well, at first he said, if I can find 10 or so, I think it was. And he said, well, if I can find 5, and then it got down to, well, if I can just find one good man. And God knew they weren't any. He said, yeah, if you can find one, I'll spare this, I'll spare it. And he knew that God knew that they weren't, that he couldn't find another good man. Even his sons were laying down with other men, and he told him, he said, get your family and get out. And that's when Saul's wife looked back and she turned into a pillow of salt, So, I mean, this country still got some good people in it. I just don't think we got enough of fight to get it turned around and heading back the other way.
Well,
I just don't.
If you're not willing to fight, if the people aren't willing to fight,
I mean, people are willing to fight. I just don't think that we're going to be able to turn it around. I think that it's wrote in the Bible, the prophecy's there, and we will become a one world, government, and we will fall under a one world leader, and we will, go down that path. We'll come to a one world currency.
Well, we already got pretty much one world leaders now. The World Bank, the people that own the Federal Reserve, are the same people that own the World Bank.
It's coming, and it would kind of be scary if it didn't, because God told us that it would happen that way, and that's the way it's happening. So,
well, another prophecy that's happening right now is over in Israel. The Temple Foundation.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They're raising red heifers, and they've got all the stuff built. As far as the altars and the what do you call it, the incense burners and special wine things for the temple to have it rebuilt. So apparently they're planning on knocking that Dome of the Rock down.
Yeah. And
knock it out of the way, and they're going to build their temple back.
Yeah, and you can't not want things to happen, because that's the way God said it would be, and His will be done. I mean, I hate that for these people that are out here that are non-believers, and there'll be probably some people that'll rag on me and you on this video. Because we're talking about it, but like you said, do the Boy Scout thing,
Yep. Hey, I love the idea of a rapture, man. That would be just totally cool.
Yeah, but like you said, I think we're going to go through that first little trial there. I don't think God's going to let us off. He
could.
He could, but in the Bible.
They use the Sodom and Gomorrah example. If there's 5 good men, would you do this? So then why wouldn't that same thing apply now? If the world has a couple of million good people, why wouldn't you save them before the rest of them get destroyed in fire?
Well, the only
limitations and stuff.
The only thing I can say there, David, is he had it for a longer period of time, and he shortened it to 5 months because he said even my elect would be deceived. Once the devil gets here on earth and he's unleashed to where he can do his, he comes down acting as Jesus. He said even I had to shorten it. I think it's from 2 years to 5 months because he said even my elect would be deceived. So that means he's saying even the people that believe in me could be deceived.
I thought he said if these days wasn't shortened, no flesh would be left. I thought.
Yeah, that's what he's talking about. That even the elect, his
No,
elect.
the elect was in a different verse.
But that's why he shortened it from 5 months down to 5 months.
I don't know where it said 5 months in there. I just know it said it'd be short.
Well, it's in there. It was supposed to be for a longer period, but he ended up. Gosh, I'm getting feedback really bad, David.
For me?
Yeah, when I talk, I can.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna stop the live thing because I have to restart and it'll kill it when I do it anyway. So.
Well, I mean, I can put up with it a little bit. I'll just have to kind of. I can do it. It won't be so bad. That way, you can keep it going. We can keep it. It may end up. I don't hear it right now.
I know I muted my mic.
Oh, okay. But that's why I say that we've got to go through this period of time, and I don't think that we'll actually. And I'm not going to say a rapture because it never ever in the Bible the word rapture is not in there. So I don't know. I hope that people just go ahead and, like you say, I'd rather be safe than sorry. Go ahead and, have a little bit of food put up.
It doesn't say 5 months. It's Matthew 24, verse 22. And let's see, the New International Version says, if for those days had not been cut short, no one would survive. But for the sake of the elect, those days will be shortened. Doesn't say how long or how much shortened. So the elect,
what is it saying?
It doesn't say nothing about deception or anything else.
What does it say in the King James Version? Because some of that new.
Okay, King James. And except for those days should be shortened, comma, there should be no flesh. No, there should be no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days will be shortened.
Yeah, I've read it before about the 5 months, but I don't know where it's at. I couldn't tell you. I went through it and.
Well, let's see.
I could be wrong. It could have been something else for the 5 months, but I was thinking that's what he was saying, that he had cut it down from, I think, 2 years to 5 months.
Supposed to be 7 years.
Like I say, I could be wrong. I'm a little bit dyslexic anyway, so a lot of times when I read stuff, I have to read it 4 or 5 times because by the time I end up reading it the first time, then I have to go back again. Well, there's something about 42 months.
42.
Well, I just saw it. I don't even know what it was. Like I say, I just saw it back right before you clicked on that.
That was Theoceans 2.4.
I just saw it and I was like, what the heck? That was.
No, it just says shortened. Some people say if it's compressed in half, it would be 3.5 years.
I was thinking it was even shorter than that because I don't know. I maybe somebody that watches this can comment in the comments later on, and maybe like I say, or I'll try to go back through and read and a lot of times I mark stuff down in my Bible and I put verses because if I don't, I'll forget where it's at and I can't. There's, you know.
Yeah, well, I sent you that site that you could listen to it every night when you.
Yeah.
That's an ideal thing to listen to while you're going to sleep.
Yeah, I used to have I mean, I don't know about my new phone, but my old phone had the Bible on it. I could just, you know,
If
it would, once I cut it off, it would bookmark it.
you see
And then
that
I
link,
could go back tonight.
you see that link right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
It says BibleGateway.com. They have an app to go on your phone.
Okay. Yeah. The other one I had, it actually had a picture of the Bible.
Hey, are you echoing now?
No, I don't hear anything now.
Okay,
It's
good.
weird because at times I hear it, sometimes I don't. That's why I say let's just try to go on through it. And, you know, the storms finally passed by. I don't hear it thundering anymore. So,
Have you got any rain over the last few days?
yeah, we got about a quarter inch last night. We didn't get none tonight. The storms went around us. But at least we got about a quarter inch last night. It actually rained enough to the dirt was all, you know, it wasn't powdery up underneath. Even up under the trees, and it was actually wet up underneath the trees, you know.
That's not enough. You need
No,
you
gosh,
need
yeah.
a couple of inches.
Yeah. Well, we need a good one long day of just drizzle rain. That way it can soak in all day long. Because if we get these flash floods, it hits the top of the ground and it runs off before it ever gets to sink, you know, for it can sink into the ground and actually do some good.
Yep. Well, I guess that we're going to keep this pretty short. We've covered a little bit. I've pretty much showed everybody on the first part of the video how that website was going to work. And that's all I was intending to do for this first thing anyway.
Well, like I say, maybe we can get Brad and Mindy and Alvin and some of them in here later on.
Well, Mindy won't never come in while we're on live.
Yeah, I wish that John Smith would come in. He's
Well,
a pretty he's
me
pretty
go
knowledgeable guy, you know.
All right, everybody. We'll see y'all maybe next week. We'll try this again if we can get some more people on the panel and some more people to participate in this group. It could be a pretty good source of information for people that think like preppers and want to know what's going on in the world and don't have all day to search for it. All right. See y'all maybe next week. We'll see how it goes.